So I'm a twin, identical twin. So I remember Jacob, and his name's Jacob, my twin brother. I remember when we were probably 21 is the first time that we ever talked about the experience of being attracted to other men, which is remarkable because we were very candid and shared a lot, pretty much everything with each other. So that gives an idea of how, guarded, maybe messed up we are with that. A word that comes up for me that's very cliche at this point, just compartmentalization. I feel like a lot of the experience for me of growing up gay and closeted, whatever you want to call it, and Mormon has been about kind of fragmenting who I am, putting it in little boxes, and that's kind of what I had to do to make sense of the world, to live with myself, and be relatively okay with it. I work as a psychotherapist, and many of my clients are gay Mormons, I guess you could say, to simplify it. And I feel like a lot of my work is to find a way to kind of put together these pieces of one's, who we are in a way that's more integrated and healthy. One thing I think about sometimes is how, for me personally, a lot of my happiness is derived from living according to my values, and how closely I live to those could influence, my level of happiness. And I feel like my values have changed over the years, kind of evolved into something different. So a friend and I had similar experiences. We were on a very similar path, and decided about the same time, let's get married, not to each other, to a couple different women. And that was about the time that our paths kind of diverged. And I think what happened is my values kind of shifted from my primary value to be an active Mormon guy and do everything entailed in that, to one of, I want to be authentic, whatever that means. And I'm not saying that he didn't, but our paths kind of changed that way, as that was what kind of rose to the top of, in importance for me. And then my actions kind of fell into place accordingly. One thing that I try to keep in mind in this part of my journey is to take with me what I've learned through the Mormon experience, to honor my heritage, to not look down on those who, believe as I did, and to be a positive force, right? To surround myself with, positivity. And I think being gay and Mormon and coming out does not have to lead to bitterness or to, conflict. For me, it's all about resolving conflict, and a great, time in life to explore who I really am on my own terms. Part of my experience of dating, probably about 50-50, I haven't done the exact math, but before getting married for 5 years to a woman, it was pretty mixed, dating men, dating women. And I think that's kind of where this compartmentalization happened and kind of came in handy, was just, okay, this is me dating a woman, this is me dating a man. I'm the same person, and I'll try this out and kind of compare. And one thing I noticed that came up increasingly was kind of, I don't know how to describe the feeling, kind of a creepy sort of feeling of guilt mixed with kind of like I was acting. And for me in particular, that's quite disarming and kind of disturbing, because I've always prided myself on being transparent and authentic as much as I know how. And I found that I couldn't do that well and be dating women at the same time. While I was being authentically faithful to, the Mormon part of me, I felt really detached. I found increasingly that there was a disconnect between my head and my heart, and that a lot of my relationships with women became increasingly, I guess you could say, neurotic, stuck in my head, really not feeling it, making lists of, what I want in a woman, in a future mate, in the Mormon lexicon, and less and less of in my heart. And what I found that many people do is I was holding on to an ideal, holding on to something that I wanted and was told to want for most of my life, and that I no longer wanted, but I continue to hold on to it. And as I learned to let that go, which was a very difficult process, then I could kind of come into myself, and it's been a life changer, and I feel happier than I've ever felt. I found that one of the things that's kind of evolved in my life over the last few months that have been a time of transition for me, as I've started dating men and I'm coming out of a marriage, heterosexual marriage, is I'm noticing more when I'm being compassionate with myself, when I'm seeing myself, I'm making an effort to see myself more as I might one of my clients or friends who is struggling with this kind of conflict. And I found that the more compassionate I can be with myself, the more success I have in not only being happy, but living authentically and putting together these kind of fragments of who I am into something more healthy and integrated. And in my work as a therapist, that's a very important piece, is helping others to be more compassionate toward themselves. Growing up LDS, there was a lot of emphasis on compassion for others, which is a beautiful thing. Sometimes we forget compassion for ourselves. And for me, that was kind of the catalyst for being able to live healthier and happier. What's it like to be gay and Mormon? That's a good question. It's kind of like asking what's it like to be an identical twin. It's kind of my experience. It's historically and up to now, it's been frustrating, it's been scary. There's been times of anxiety, and it's felt alienating at times. It's made relationships difficult and at times insincere, contrived. Growing up gay and Mormon has been, I think a word that comes up for me is detachment, not only from others, and even from God at times, and feeling unworthy and all of those associated feelings, but also detached from myself and my core. Sometimes it's difficult to think back or feel back on what it was like years ago. I feel like, in a way, I've come out many times, but I feel like over the last 10 years, even in still trying to live a heterosexual life at some level, I've been out and open with most of my friends, and I found that has made a huge difference in quality of life and being able to sleep well at night and being able to be there more fully for myself and others.